on color 5, which is valleys, and this is the listener. And valleys are grounded, contained spaces that feel nestled and secure. And these are environments that provide a sense of being held and supported by the earth. If it's a left valley, it's a narrow valley. And these are tight, focused, valley-like spaces where you feel contained and protected. Narrow spaces help you focus. On the flip side, we have the right arrow, and this is a wide valley. And these are broader, more open valley-like spaces that still feel grounded but allow for expansiveness.
Again, think of how much this mirrors the right and the left of view. Each of these words and these keynotes are exactly what we would think of when we move over to the right and get into the view on the personality side. We're not there yet. That'll be next. But these things also totally mirror. This is where I wanted to bring up the second line, indoor and outdoor marketplaces, internal, external. Wide is far more like the external, more expansive, and indoor/internal is far more the narrow. But the valley is a place of commerce where all the commerce is taking place, all the individual marketplaces of this guy and this guy's home and that guy's thing and this guy's flea market and that guy's outside tag sale and this guy's muffler shop. All those things are now part of a larger valley. And everyone knows everyone in the valley. I live in Pioneer Valley. Valleys are one of the most named things there are, right? Death Valley.
Well, because like it's easier to live in a valley than on a mountain. It's harder to bring your supplies. It's hard to get water and electricity and stuff like that. So you're going to more likely be living in a valley.
Right, exactly. Because now that you've surveyed all the terrain, you are out in it. And now it's time to come into where there is more water, by the way. You know, valleys tend to be where there is, like, you got a river running through it, potentially. Yeah. Although you could have plenty of water in the mountains, too. Who am I kidding? But
generally, though, like if it's a valley, like if there's going to be more likely to have a river in a valley by the nature of like water erodes things. But it's like, yeah, you can have a spring, you can have water in the mountain, but it's still going to be easier if you're building like a city and a town. You can build a house in the mountain. It's harder to build a town. It's easier to build a town in a valley.
Right. Exactly. So we get into this wide and this narrow, and it's exactly as it sounds. The narrow one wants to move more into the ravine first, and because they are strategic and they're still tied into the old way. By the way, this is all about our connection to the old, the strategic, and our movement forward into what we really are, which is the open receptive. What we're moving into, that thing that we have within us. So the open receptive wants it a little bit wider because it brings more possible things to happen. It just brings more to fill what rightness does, takes everything in. If you're only got a thin slice in a ravine, there's not the same amount to take in. You'll go crazy if you're a wide valleys person. And if you're narrow, too much expansiveness is no good. However, narrow can totally move itself to some degree into something a little bit wider as it is truly comfortable. It'll still see its own little patch as narrow. So it's not like they're not adaptive. We've gotten through that. We've already been through a third line adaptiveness. We've been through a determined fourth line that says we're going to be in a valley one way or another. We got out of a cave. We've made markets in the first place. Go figure, the second line makes business start. Oops, it didn't know. It just, it's called into it. So apparently humanity is genetically designed to trade, share, and make business out of things, because there it was before, we were even talking all that well, technically. So, and then valleys become the spot where great fertility takes place in farms and ranches. And this is the beginning of true civilization, like the civilization we know. Fourth line is the beginning of it because it looks out over its civilization. It's starting to create aspects of it. It is certainly fixed, fixedness. However, the listener who listened to all of that said, no, we need to get into the valley. So all you guys roll on down the hill because everyone's up in the hills. It wasn't that hard to find people. They just had to let gravity do the work. Down they came, like literally, over time, except certain valleys that were populated all along. But so valleys, place to be.
I love my valleys. I'm a wide valley. And
really?
I'm a wide valley, and I could totally tell the difference. Valleys, the listener, it's related to sound. So even like I don't like earbuds, like I wear them for this for the sake of the microphone and everything. But even I don't know if you've heard of bone conduction headphones, and they
Hmm.
sit on the outside and they like vibrate on like your facial ear bone so you
Yep.
can hear it. And I love those.
Nice.
I love those. I don't like narrow houses or narrow corridors. I don't like little
Right.
hallways and stuff like that. I love a wide open floor plan, that kind of stuff. It's a very cocooned kind of like wide cocoon feeling. And if I am like in a wide valley in nature, I feel like I can hear better and I feel just safe. I feel comfortable. I feel like everything is right and I can properly understand my environment by the way the sound is coming in, almost like I have like little antennas that can like feel into the frequencies and which way is the right way to go or the wrong way to go.
And the sound is what is the master frequency that dials into all the other frequencies, is sort of what you're pointing out. Valleys also is very much in line, keeping with the fifth line process. The valleys is where lots of art and beauty does start to take shape. It is where there is lots of practicalness. There also start to have to be lawmen, and stuff like that. So that's becomes more of a thing. It's also the conditioner and the conditioned. It is the conditioner, and the master seductress is the valley. The valley was akin to what the big cities are, how they're so seductive to everyone who wants to, think about that. Not so much anymore, I might add. That's just the way it's always worked out. The valley became a hub. And so even from in the mountains or caves or any place else, people would look upon valleys as, seductive. It is very fifth line. The valley doesn't have to work hard to universalize, does it? Anyone from anywhere around at any elevation that's even 20 feet above the valley can look several miles and see, oh, look, there's that thing over there.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to
So
make its way through, like the universalization is going to work
universalizes
its way
itself.
through. Yeah. And like
Yeah.
that's the thing through too, like airflow and movement of ideas. Like
Mm,
I cannot be in a room without an open window or a fan or something
yep.
moving the air. If I walk into a stagnant air room, like it's like shaky for me. I hate it. Like there's few
Yep.
things I hate more than like a stagnant room with no airflow moving around, or like I don't have any new ideas coming through. Like that stuff will drive me mad.
Mm,
And then I have one more like funny story because I am a wide valley, but my boyfriend is an active mountain, which is a funny combination because valleys and mountains are kind of different. And
right.
when we did like a road trip out in Arizona a few years back, and we were driving all around to go to like Grand Canyon and Sedona and Antelope Canyon and all these places. And it was absolutely hilarious as we were going up and down in elevation, both driving from city to city where you're going up and down thousands of feet in elevation. And even when we did some hikes, when we were going up in elevation, he would feel better, my mountain environment, my mountain man, and I would start feeling worse. And then we would hike down or we would drive down into whichever next valley town and I would start feeling better and mountain man would start feeling worse. And
Wow.
it was so funny. It was an absolutely immediate thing that we noticed with each other.
And I always loved coming into the valley. It was such a big draw for me. And only when I found out, resonance and harmony, and I found out the meaning, the genetic meaning and the movement, mechanical meaning of that, it made so much more sense. I've always allured myself into, it's always been so alluring to me.
It always feels lush. Like even the picture, like the mountain picture is like, it's like, wow, it's impressive, snow-capped mountains. Whereas like the valley is like, oh, it's so lush and I want to go there. And there's like life and something to do and see and people.
There's a saloon with a piano player. They're in the valley. The first full-on saloon with a piano player starts in valleys.
Yeah,
It
it's
didn't
lush,
quite,
it's welcoming.
it didn't start in mountains, or if it did, it was like not really, right?
Well, yeah, you'd first settle something in a valley and then maybe you go into the mountain and then you create a town in the mountain. But yeah, the first ones would be in the valleys. Like, yeah, I don't know. I love
Absolutely.
valleys to me are like lush cocoon, safe spaces where I'm like contained but open enough.
Well, and valleys are the harmony again to the marketplaces. So the second line sets up a little foundational stuff as it relates to what the fifth line is now going to totally build upon and receive that calling and universalize it. And again, valleys are the one thing that naturally, organically universalizes. It doesn't have to do anything. It's seen by everyone who's from anywhere around. They see, oh my God, there's a whole place over there. So it universalizes itself.